There are many horrific passages that we could find from the Old Testament. We could even just do it one book at a time, and in many cases, just one chapter at a time. I'm going to do just three verses, but they're equally shocking for different reasons. And they are especially shocking in the cruelty that they advocate or narrate towards children. If you read the Bible, you already know Leviticus is full of horrors. Horrors. Trying to make a bad Shakespearean pun here. But this is as shocking as any to me. And the daughter of any priest, if she profane herself by playing the whore, she profaneth her father. She shall be burnt with fire. That's a bit of an overreaction. I don't know exactly what they mean by playing the whore, but can you think of any sexual act a daughter could engage in that would warrant being burnt to death? Yeah, me neither. Why do you want kids to read this? I don't. I don't have kids, but if I even fostered some high school kids, I wouldn't be encouraging them to read that. And if they were reading it, we'd have a discussion. But what lesson does that teach? It just shows yet another example of ancient text written by men through much misogyny. They never seem to have a counterpart verse or, say, a son. Or what if the bride finds out that the husband is not a virgin? What? No, but if she's not, then in that case, we stone her to death. So we're very specific in our religious text. Sometimes we have to stone these unclean women to death. But here it's burn with fire because we have a direct line to Yahweh, and He told our scribes to write this. Okay. Unfortunately, it only gets worse. Yeah, it's not just the Pentateuch that is shocking. When you progress through Joshua and Judges, it's a lot of this kind of stuff. Of course, this would make some sense if we realized and perceived it as mythology. There's a deal made between a character and Yahweh. Does that sound like history? It sounds like a Charlie Daniels song where you make a deal with the devil went down to Georgia. Or Robert Johnson and the Bluesmen. Oh, we went to the crossroads, and then the devil offered me this. Oh, come on. It's mythology. It's kind of cool. But let's just see what old Jephthah's up to. And Jephthah vowed a vow unto the Lord and said, If thou shalt without fail deliver the children of Ammon into mine hands, then it shall be that whatsoever cometh forth of the doors of my house to meet me when I return in peace from the children of Ammon, shall surely be the Lord's, and I will offer it up for a burnt offering. So Jephthah passed over unto the children of Ammon to fight against them, and the Lord delivered them into his hands. And he smote them from Aroer even till thou come to Minnith, even 20 cities, and unto the plain of the vineyards with a very great slaughter. Thus the children of Ammon were subdued before the children of Israel. And Jephthah came to Mizpah unto his house, and behold, his daughter came out to meet him with timbrels and with dances. And she was his only child. Beside her he had neither son nor daughter. And it came to pass, when he saw her, that he rent his clothes, and said, Alas, my daughter, thou hast brought me very low, and thou art one of them that trouble me. For I have opened my mouth unto the Lord, and I cannot go back. And she said unto him, My father, if thou hast opened thy mouth unto the Lord, do to me according to that which hath proceeded out of thy mouth. Forasmuch as the Lord hath taken vengeance for thee of thine enemies, even of the children of Ammon. And she said unto her father, Let this thing be done for me. Let me alone 2 months, that I may go up and down upon the mountains and bewail my virginity, I and my fellows. And he said, Go. And he sent her away for 2 months. And she went with her companions, and bewailed her virginity upon the mountains. And it came to pass at the end of 2 months that she returned unto her father, who did with her according to his vow which he had vowed. And she knew no man. And it was a custom in Israel that the daughters of Israel went yearly to lament the daughter of Jephthah the Gileadite 4 days in a year. Imagine making that a Sunday school lesson, asking the kids what they think. What is the lesson here, the moral? The only thing I can take is Jephthah needs to stop having conversations with the Lord because you noticed, or I just noticed when I was reading that, the Lord didn't agree to anything. It just happened. So people say you can't make deals with God. That happens all the time, at least in the Old Testament. So he vowed a vow, if you will deliver the enemies into my hands, I will give you a burnt offering, which you have to know as a human being. And then he just passed over into the children of Ammon and starts winning all these battles. So that's your idea of God. He's helping you slaughter people and wipe out 20 cities. And because he loves the smell of burning flesh so much that you can just assume that if you make a reasonable deal like this, reasonable, that involves sacrificing any human who comes through that door. I'm sure an apologist, well, maybe a donkey was going to, well, then it's a waste of a perfectly fine animal. And of course, the daughter is problematic for many reasons. How does she know what happened? She's saying, for as much as the Lord hath taken vengeance of thee, of thine enemies, even of the children of Ammon. He didn't tell her that. He just showed up. She comes out doing her mystical dance, and then he starts wailing and renting his garments. How does she know what the outcome of the battle was? What a weird thing. I don't see how any child could benefit from reading this passage. Wow, maybe I should answer that differently. When I upload the video. Hmm. I probably don't want to put age limits on this stuff, but yeah, I don't know how old you have to be to handle this. 18, 21? I don't know. All right. This is so bizarre. It's almost comical, but it's hard to laugh at the content. What's also really strange is this is just coming in halfway into chapter two. Before this, we've already seen Elijah taken up into the heavens. That happens more than once in the Old Testament. People, oh, that's an interesting story. Right. It's called mythology. People don't get taken up into heaven. If they do, how do you argue with such certainty that it didn't happen for Romulus or Caesar Augustus? Caesar Augustus was around at about the same time as Jesus. And on that coin, it says that the Caesar is a son of God. And he was taken up into heaven. Anyway, that's another topic. But this is a story continuing after somebody just was taken up into heaven. And he has a similar name. That's Elijah. This is Elisha or Elisha. I'm going to call him Elisha. And that's what they mean by he. And he went forth under the spring of the waters and cast the salt in there and said, thus saith the Lord, I have healed these waters. There shall not be from thence any more death or barren land. How does he get to speak for the Lord? So the waters were healed unto this day, according to the saying of Elisha which he spake. And he went up from thence unto Bethel. Is that why there are so many Bethel Baptists and Bethel? Yeah, probably. And as he was going up by the way, there came forth little children out of the city and mocked him, and said unto him, go up, thou bald head, go up, thou bald head. And he turned back and looked on them, and cursed them in the name of the Lord. And there came forth two she bears out of the wood, and tare 40 and 2 children of them. And he went from thence to Mount Carmel. From thence he returned to Samaria. What? So what do you kids think about this story? Never make fun of anybody who's bald? I mean, it's not fun when kids make fun of you for any reason. If you've ever walked by a playground, you're going to be, depending on their age. Second, third grade, they're still kind of nice. Sixth, seventh grade, now you see why the chimp is in fact our closest relative. They just, they have to do the mean thing, especially in a group. And in fact, I remember, not to get lost too much, but I remember I had this job for a while where we were trying to sell encyclopedias or encyclopedia, and the shtick was you go in and you offer a bunch of free stuff to the private schools, and they let you go in and do a little presentation. And I remember I would show, I had something with presidential photos, and a kid was reprimanded, but he was probably fifth grade. And when he saw a picture, probably the first time, of Dwight D. Eisenhower, said, "Baldy," and everybody just started laughing. I was like, "Oh, I was not prepared for this." I would have been 28 or 9, but that was directed at Ike, so whatever. Although probably soon after that, when I was tutoring a third grader and her fifth grade sister, they and their, I think he was 5-year old brother, happened to notice before even I did that I was not just experiencing a receding hairline, I had a bald spot. And they just started laughing. I think Johnny was rolling on the floor. And I guess I can relate to Alicia. Luckily, I didn't have the ability to call upon the name of the Lord. I don't know why the Lord didn't say, "Hey, it's a little thin skinned. Come on." And you are bald, you know. Oh, do people actually, are they so fundamentalist that they just say, "Yep, that's just another example of why kids need to behave. Spare the rod and spoil the child. And if you insult a man of God who can heal waters by throwing salt in there and then affect the future, and he can speak in the name of the Lord, if you call him bald, this is what could happen." I'm not sure how many kids got away. It says, and tear 40 and 2 of them. Did 50 kids get away? Did any of them call him bald head? As if the other ones had culpability? And to not just realize this is mythology. No one can call on bears to do their bidding. And even if bears tried to tear apart kids, they wouldn't be able to do 42. And no, I don't have a math formula for the maximum flesh that could be torn by 2 she-bears, but I think it would be closer to 10. I don't think it would be 20. We could look at bear attacks narrated in the 1800s through newspapers. Did one bear ever kill more than 10 people? I doubt it. I mean, that's the old joke. It's like, you can't outrun a bear. No, but I can outrun you. You know, the only way that joke works is the bear's only going to eat one. Even a kid would be a pretty tasty meal. All right. But I don't understand why you wouldn't rather read at least the Old Testament as the obvious mythology that it is. Of course, this is where it gets scary. This is rules. This is legalistic. And if this happens, stone them. There are admonitions to stone children if they just talk back. It's like any modern teenage behavior. For girls, it tends to show up at about 11. Boys, it's more like 13. Those kids that used to come running to daddy and grabbing his legs when he came home, they won't even acknowledge you anymore. And every time you say something, yeah, you know, are you gonna beat the heck out of him with a rod because of some archaic verse you think you understand? And if she sleeps, are you gonna take purity culture this far? I don't know. I loathe that verse. In fact, I think I loathe everything in Leviticus. Let me wait for the lightning bolt. Nope. All right. This is maybe the dumbest story I've read in the Bible, and I've read all of them. I have to thank Skepticus for pointing this one out to me. He does a great job on it. Yeah, he's willing to take these uh, the books of the Bible, verse by verse. Maybe once in a while, he'll do more than one chapter, but he's willing to drill down. But I see why. It's a gold mine. Not just picking 3 verses. You can sometimes take a chapter of the Old Testament of any Old Testament book and just almost have to break it up into 3 sections just to stop and comment on how crazy it is. This is crazy from the first word to the last. Her reaction is ridiculous. She doesn't know the outcome of the battle, kind of a minor point, but he also hasn't even explained what the deal was. They're talking like mythological characters. If she were a real human being, as soon as they went up in the mountains, just keep going, relocate. You're going to come back to become a burnt offering because your dad says he made a deal with Yahweh? Come on. And then this, what lesson this could possibly teach, I don't know. Don't make fun of bald prophets. I don't know what else it would be. In any case, I think we made the point. Please like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. And also check out the book, Think Again, on KDP Amazon. It's a paperback, an ebook, or an audiobook.